So, hi guys. Flying the DJI Mini 3 Pro indoors, so without hitting anything, and I'm in a particularly difficult situation here. I'm at Gasoline Alley, which is the custom motorcycle place that I do some work for, and it was absolutely chucking down with rain outside when we had the big sort of flash floods and everything the other day. So I thought, well, while I'm here, I might as well put the drone up and have a little bit of experimentation. As you can see here, bits and pieces all over the place, motorbikes, handlebars, even the beams up through on the roof, which I'm actually up flying through at the moment, just to try and give us some different angles that we can put into the YouTube video. So make sure you go and check out Gasoline Alley Speed Shop YouTube channel, because that's where there's lots of videos coming soon. We've just been building up the editing and everything. So if you like motorbikes or a bit of a petrol head, check that out. I'll leave a link in the description. But as you can see here, I'm flying through the beams up in the roof, sort of 10 foot up in the air or so, maybe a little bit higher. And a little bit scary, like it always is. But what I've done is I've actually put it into normal mode, and I've turned off all the sensors. So all the anti-collision sensors are all turned off. It does seem to still want to try and persuade you to move, but it still holds position well. It shows you on the screen that there are things there, so it shows you red and the orange still, so you kind of still get an idea that you may hit something if you're not careful. I mean, I'm flying very slowly and trying to be as precise as possible. Trying to, as you can see there, I'm just reversing now back through, but I'm stood at the other end of the building, so I can see exactly where I am. The only trouble I did have was I didn't really know how far away I was from the wall at the far end as I flew towards it. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. And the fact that I can stand behind it on all that is quite easy to do. A little bit, like I say, a little bit unnerving, but because the Mini 3 Pro is so small, it can go through small gaps and stuff like that. The only thing I made a mistake was I thought I'd try and fly through a frame, so a frame with no engine in it, and I hadn't turned off the sensors. Luckily, it wasn't actually my drone; it was theirs. Before I got the Mini 3, and that actually still tried to push itself up as I went through, but it was still fine. It just broke a propeller. But Mini 3 Pro working brilliantly. As you can see, it's super smooth. I've now clicked it into cinema mode or cinematic mode, or whatever you want to call it. So it's super smooth, super slow. Because speed's not really needed here. I just need to rotate round, and I've not cut any of the clips. I'm literally just going through the clips that I did and just explaining what I had done. I'm in manual mode, so basically all my exposure and everything is set by me, and you'll see why in a minute. But as you can see, there's a little bit of flicker. These LEDs I worked out using the A1 that they were I think 120 hertz. So if I drop the shutter speed down to 100, it was bang on. Something like that. It was the flickering sort of disappeared. So I think it was 100, 100. No, I'll tell you what, it said 100 to 120 hertz. So the flickering reappeared at 120, but at 100 it was fine. Anything lower than that, you got a little bit of flicker. Anything higher than that, you got a flicker. So yeah, it's interesting. But as you can see there, you can see it in the floor, a little bit of flickering going on, which is a little bit annoying. But these were just experimentations. It was pissing, like I say, it was pissing down with rain. Even though it's bright outside, but it was a lot of rain. So I wanted to fly the drone that day, and I just really couldn't risk it. Thunder and lightning as well. But as you can see there, nice and smooth. Just the flickering ruining it, really. As you can see, there's a bit of banding going on. It's not too bad, but it's not brilliant. That's me to look at there. There we go. I'm saying that. Oh, then I've gone a bit too far, so I come back one more. There you go. So that's it fixed. I actually forgot I did this. But now, as you can see there, I've set the exposure to match the refresh rate of those lights. So now we've got no flickering. It's much better. Also, the exposure looks a lot nicer, where I wasn't in auto mode for some of it, and also then I can adjust obviously the exposure up a little bit. The lighting is obviously changing as I'm riding through or flying through here, because things where the lighting is or not, and just things are in the shadow. It's just experimentation, like a lot of things. You just got to mess around and see how things work. I thought I'd fly and hover in front of this mirror, so one of the bike's handlebars mirrors. I just thought, wonder how the autofocus works if you touch, because obviously touch to focus on the drone itself in the mirror, and it was fine. A little bit of bokeh there. Right, so Jake was actually welding. So I thought, there you can see me down the end on the right, and he's welding. As you can see, it looks quite cool, quite funky. I didn't know he was actually going to start welding, but he just started doing it, so I quickly sort of flew over that way. And he's just sorting out a mount or something on the actual bike frame there. And having that zoom is absolutely brilliant. I'll then adjust the exposure a little bit more in a second, and when he goes round behind the other side, I actually get a better view. And as you can see in a second when he moves around, that you actually get a really nice cast of light from the welding. It just looks really cool. Just looks awesome. It's just an interesting way of looking at it, and I'm looking from about 8 or 9 feet down, above. Sorry, so I'm looking down at him actually at work. So it is quite cool. So it just gives us, like anything, a bit like flying along the cliffs earlier. It just gives you another view of how things are happening without having to stand up on a ladder with a camera looking down. You can just have the drone hovering up there, and it was nice and hot. So actually standing under the drone was quite pleasant as well, with the propellers blowing cold air around. But as you can see there, yeah, here we go. So I started darkening the exposure a little bit, speeding up the shutter speed. It looks really cool with the light and everything from the welding behind the wheel arch there. It just looks really cool. Like I said, this is just messing about, just having a little play. But there is some usable footage there for one of the videos we'd actually do. So this bit here I'll probably use for something. I just thought I'll see what other people thought, and just remember, if you are indoors, just turn those sensors off. Also turn off your return to home to set it to hover. Do not set it to return to home because it will try and fly up through the roof if it happens to randomly lose the controller, which it shouldn't do obviously indoors. But yeah, obviously just be very aware of your surroundings when you're flying inside like this. This is quite a busy room as such because of handlebars and things like that. I did fly down on the ground lower along another time, but yeah, almost crashed. So I restrained myself from doing that. Anyway, I hope you like the video. Don't forget to click the subscribe button, little notification bell as well, and I shall see you soon.